Sometimes days don't go as planned. And I think when you're obviously in a transition and you're pursuing other things, you have all these plans, you have all this energy, you have all this motivation, and then the day comes and it doesn't go as planned. And we can easily beat ourselves up and be like, you should have done this, you should have done that. But I've gotten to a point in my life where, one, not attached to like what happens throughout the day. I can feel in my heart the little pinginess of like that voice in my head saying you haven't been productive, and you're like, how are you going to move forward with this idea or this dream or whatever the case. But I think for me, what's most important, and the best analogy I can give in terms of how I move from day-to-day life now is, as you all know, my new friend Dan, the bread man, that I met at the park recently. Yesterday we had a conversation and we were just talking about his dog River, and we just got done playing with him. He's taking a break, he's taking a rest, and somehow we got into the conversation that, like, how come, the birds, the flowers, and particularly these dogs, they don't think about what's going to happen tomorrow. They don't have any anxieties about tomorrow. They don't have any depressions about the past. Literally, River is just taking a rest, laying down and taking a breath and just enjoying playing with their dad, after playing Frisbee for like the first half of the morning. And Dan was like, yeah, like he doesn't have any cares in the world. He doesn't think about where his next meal is going to come from. He knows he's going to eat. He knows he's going to find shelter. He knows that he's going to be taken care of. He really waits and listens to me before we do anything, so he gets to just be in the present moment, look around and enjoy the park and this morning, and just got done playing and having a new friend, aka me. And it's like, yeah, whenever I say eat, he eats. Whenever he says, let's go, then we go, And I was just thinking, I was like, that's kind of how God works in a way, and that's how I feel, where I've gotten to a place where I got tired of planning, y'all. Like, I'm telling you, like, I was a whole planner. So much so, like I said, I've moved to San Diego because of a product, that was a planner, and it just hadn't worked. I was a dog chasing my tail, It's because I wasn't listening to, I don't know if Dan would consider himself the owner, but I wasn't listening to the Father. I wasn't listening to Source. I wasn't listening to Infinite Intelligence. And so to get to that point where I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do next? What do you want me to do next? Like acting, as a dog, to be honest, it's just like, what do you want me to do next? And so I think for me, when you think about shepherds, right, and you think about that analogy, it's like he uses the analogy that the sheep know my voice, you know what I mean? And so, of course, when you think about sheep and you think about a shepherd dog, they're two different, they have two different roles. And the reality is, I remember my life as a sheep, you know what I mean? Like, I remember I was just baying all the time and thinking of all the bad things that were going to happen. And like, I was lost. You know what I mean? I was lost and I didn't know what to do, and now I'm to the point where I was all like, man, I know that I'm not in control, but I would much rather be a shepherd dog than to be a sheep, And so, yeah, today didn't go as planned. Did I move the needle in my entrepreneurial situation? No. Did I do any outreaches today? No, I didn't. Did I sell something today? I did sell something today. And I think that's the difference too. It's like, I'm in a place where how do I prepare myself to what's to come? I don't know what's going to come. I don't know what tomorrow brings. I don't know what this next chapter is going to hold. But for me, I'm at a place where it's like, how can I move the needle forward just a little bit? And it doesn't always have to look the way that we've been taught on how to look. For me, it's like, it doesn't have to be all digital, So what actually took place today was that I took out all of my boxes and the things that I moved here with back in September, and I took them all out and I'm getting ready to sell everything. I was like, okay, this is all the stuff I have. Is there anything that I'm going to be putting in storage, So being like, okay, I can sell this, and that of another. And so for me, that's still preparing for the opportunity. That's still moving the needle forward. That's still in my brain having expectancy that, this new season is coming, this new chapter is coming, even if I don't know what it is. It's also having faith, but more importantly, it's having active faith. I think for me, that's the difference maker, right? We have to think about it in the sense of, we talk about right now what's really popular is like visualization, manifestation, all these things. But what I'm learning is like the different, and which equalizes to a level of faith, right? But the difference is meeting it where it's at. It's being active in it. It's taking action in it, And again, how we talked about yesterday, where for me, my belief is that like the fact the fact that I'm taking action is already like more than enough, because that means I'm having active faith. I'm having faith in moving in this direction of wherever I'm supposed to be going, but like realizing like I'm going to be met where I'm at, you know? So that's the grace I'm giving myself. I'm just like, okay, like I didn't do any outreaches today. Okay, fine. But I did sell something, and I have all of my stuff out that I'm ready to sell. So like God's going to meet me where I'm at. You know, it may have just been a little bit, but God's still going to meet me where I'm at, you know, or even if it's a lot, God's still going to meet me where I'm at. So it's like, no matter what effort I put in, for me and what I'm experimenting with, it's like, as long as it's active faith and not just all in my mind and all in my thoughts. That is very well the same thing when it comes to this path of entrepreneurship. So grace, grace, grace. Whatever you did today, just know that you did more than enough already.